As is right in this world.
As is your right.
Yes.
As an American.
As an American. As a human being, God damn it.
You know what else is a human being?
What's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Pixel It. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, is Phil. And today, we are finishing Halo Outcasts. Outcasts? Is it plural or singular? That might be in the other room. Yeah. But, yeah, we're wrapping it up.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna finish this book, and it's coming. We're coming in for a landing.
Yes.
We're coming in for a landing.
Many people are coming in for a landing, as it turns out. There's
a lot of landings in this last third of the book. So we're gonna get right to it, and we're gonna put the body in the marsh. We have a pretty extensive discussion coming up right after this in What Are You Playing? Because we're playing what everybody else is playing.
We're playing what you're playing.
We're playing what you're playing as of the recording of this episode. So let's get to it. Let's put the body in the marsh.
This ain't reality TV!
Do it.
Chapter 17. Olympia, Golly, Keely, and the rest of the gang have been crawling through a drainage pipe for the last 30 minutes and have finally gotten close to the end of the tunnel. Keely's being just real nasty with Olympia during all this. Olympia's like, I gotta get away from her. So she goes in, goes ahead, goes on down the tunnel, and gets out of it first to scout things out. And she finds this gigantic hydroponics room with all of these plants and fruits and veggies growing. And while she scouts around, the rest of the team comes in. And when Keely gets in there, Keely and Olympia have a debate as to how they have a mixture of tier 5 and 6 tech everywhere else. But there is tier 1 and 0 tech only in this building right here. And they ask Petrov, like, Petrov, is this anywhere? You've been on this planet a long time. Have you seen? And she says, no, it's nowhere else that I have seen on this planet. Only here, only this building. So that's curious. Mm-hmm. And then they start diving a little bit deeper, and they're like, oh, okay. So they come to the conclusion that the building, the citadel that they're in, had to have been created by, they use the term grave mind.
Yes.
So, and I had to look this up because I wasn't totally sure. So there's a race before the Forerunners called the Precursors. The Precursors are what created the Forerunners. Mm-hmm. The Forerunners then go off and seed all the other life in the galaxy or whatever. The Precursors, the Forerunners rebelled against the Precursors. And in an effort to save themselves, the Precursors turned themselves into powder or something.
Yeah.
And then they stored themselves, but then it got corrupted and they became the Flood. Mm-hmm. And Gravemind is kind of like the master, the mother brain of the Flood / Precursors that are left. Yeah. So they realize at one point, Petrov says, why couldn't the people who built the Citadel still be in the Citadel? Might they just have compassion for the Sangheili? And Vale is like, if it's the people that we're thinking of, no.
Yeah. Unless I missed my guess, the answer is absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because it might have been the people that eventually became the Flood.
Mm-hmm. And we know what friendly little guys they are. So
we know what friendly little things they are.
Just little friendly guys.
A little skittering around.
Yeah. Just
Chapter 18. Vadam wakes up, surrounded by the rest of his crew, minus Talit, and he finds out that the gas that the Oath Warden released was corrupted by Kavaracy, and it wasn't part of the Oath Warden's intent for that to happen. Raashi, who is the blade master that turned sides, is still with them. Demonstrates how Kvarsi controls the dust and the nano machines, and also how the armor is formed over bare skin. Vadam also finds out that Talit and his entire unit were killed by the gas that Kvarsi used, that basically took from the Oath Warden's spray, corrupted it into like a poisonous gas, and then killed everybody else.
Yeah. So that's good.
That's good. That's great. You know,
And a way to engender yourself among your peers there. That's great.
good job.
Good
you
job.
know?
Proud of you.
Chapter 19. Chapter 18 is really brief. Chapter 19. First squad takes about 20 minutes to do a full recon of the hydroponic farm that they found. And they continue on, and Vale tells her troops to look for a fortified location. And Keely goes, it's not going to be fortified. It's going to be a sacred-looking broom. It's going to be like a shrine. Martinez says that Hoy might have found what Keely is talking about, and it's a sculpture garden of sorts. It's just like all these random metal pieces, just kind of like on pedestals and what have you. They also note that the mess hall is a mess. And they're like, these zealots, these castaways might not be very disciplined, and they don't clean up after themselves. I think they just kind of hope that the dust will take care of it. Clean the plates or whatever.
Like everything that they find points towards these people just being spoiled brat people who just got lucky, happened upon this miracle machine and have been letting themselves get fat and undisciplined while hiding underground, basically.
Yeah. Exactly. As Gali and Olympia investigate the sculpture garden, Olympia taps one of the sculptures and it causes a ringing sound, and it just bounces all through the room. And Gali's like, don't do that again.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Yeah. Did you do that? Was that, because he's like across the room and he like
did you do
calms.
that?
Was that you? Was that you? Yeah, that was me. Fucking don't. Just don't. Okay. And I love the reaction. It's just like, you know what? Yeah, good call. Thanks.
You're
Sorry.
right. I shouldn't. As Olympia is investigating a larger sculpture, she realizes that it's part of a guardian that's down there. They are interrupted in their discussion when Gali says he notices a blue flash. It's an energy sword. So Olympia orders Gali back to take Keely and Commander Petrov to a bolt hole. And Olympia and Sergeant Zahir and the rest of the squad form up. But it doesn't really do a whole lot, as the squad just starts getting ripped to shreds.
Yeah. Goes very badly.
It does not go well. The zealots are basically wearing this like so the armor that they're wearing is also active camouflaging them, so you just can't see them. You would just see these energy blades just like ripping through the air. So Zahir, the sergeant in charge of First Squad, gets cut in half by one of the blades from the shoulder all the way, just the top half. Boom.
Yeah. Just
Real. You know what it reminded me of? This entire scene reminded me of Predator.
Oh yeah, big time. Big time. The cloaking devices, and
Predator
just the brutal
kills.
kills.
It was Predator / Aliens.
Yeah.
It was like the colonial Marines all getting chopped up or killed, but then it was also, when Jesse the Body Ventura gets killed in Predator.
It's true. I was thinking Carl Weathers, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Or when Carl Weathers gets killed, he gets one arm chopped off, and he's using he's down one arm and still firing.
Oh, that movie so much.
It's such a good movie.
Oh man.
So yeah, this is a real Predator scene in that
Very much so.
that almost everybody dies.
Yes. We lose so many characters in such a short amount of time.
It goes from there's like Martinez and Hoy and Zahir and Kane and all that stuff. They're all dead.
All dead.
It's in a matter of a couple pages. They have been sliced through by energy swords.
Yeah. It did make me think of Rubicon Protocol, like where it was just like everything's fine, tense, and then all of a sudden
Not
we
fine.
lose a quarter of our squad. Just crazy, absolutely crazy.
And it's not even just like being shot either. It's like being cut in half.
Oh yeah,
and shit
horrible.
like that.
Yeah, it's graphic stuff. Yeah.
So basically, Olympia and two others are trying to fall back. Olympia ends up killing a few of them when she realizes that you can't just shoot them because the armor stops anything like ballistic. Mm-hmm. You actually just have to like choke them to death because it doesn't realize that the airway is being cut off.
Yeah. Any sharp, aggressive kind of move like that. But if you slowly close the air pipe, it doesn't it can't react fast enough.
So she chokes one, snaps the neck of another. And then after all that hand-to-hand combat, it was Olympia and two others. Then it becomes Olympia and a Bovian, who is her grenadier. Grenadier? Yeah. Grenadier. Basically, they're the two falling back.
It's them.
It's funny because there's a moment where Olympia fucks up and a Bovian tells her you fucked it, you shouldn't have, there was some bait and switch move where the guy
that she fell for
that nearly killed a Bovian, and the saying Healy Zealot runs away or whatever, but a Bovian's you shouldn't have fallen for that. And there's this little Vale starts thinking about how it's she knows a Bovian has actually been in more combat situations than she has.
Despite the fact that Vale is a fucking Spartan, this ODST has actually seen
ODST
she's seen more combat than her. So she, in not in the technical sense, but in the common sense, she outranks her. So she immediately, I thought it was pretty cool. She's like, you know what? Yeah, sorry.
And that's the second time that Olympia is I fucked up.
Yep.
In this chapter. So they retreat. Keely tells them that they're hiding under the Guardian's head. Abovian gets in first, then verbally guides Olympia to where she's supposed to go. And when she gets inside, Gali is on the ground fighting an unseen foe. Mm-hmm. And there's another Zealot's mandible, just one of his mouth pieces, ripped off and on the ground. Olympia breaks the arm of the one that's attacking Gali, but then it headbutts Gali and just knocks him the fuck out.
Poor Gali.
And the description is the headbutt comes down and it smashes his nose and his cheeks split on his cheekbones or something like that.
So brutal.
God, it's such a brutal. This is just such a brutal chapter.
It is. It's just it's unrelenting. We get a lot of diplomacy and tension building and stuff, and then all of a sudden Troy just lets us have it.
Vale grabs Gali and takes him back to the rotunda and sees that Petrov and Abovian are in position, ready to go, but Keely is missing. And they're she ran off to the control chamber to find the control chamber for the weapon. Mm-hmm. Nothing bad could come of that.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
Fine.
Chapter 20. Vadam and company are taking cover from human gunfire now, and the Oath Warden and Varodai are trying to convince them it's okay to just kill the humans now because they have broken the pact.
Yes.
Clearly, this can't be. Vadam is I think this might be an accident. And Raashi, the Zealot turncoat, it's it probably is an accident. They're probably shooting at camouflage. So Vadam just says, Spartan Vale, it's me. And they're oh shit. All right. And then they just come out from their respective covers.
I'm super glad you called out to us. Yeah, me too. Damn.
So they debrief each other, and they figure out that there's only 2 zealots left. The World Master Kavaro C, who's in charge, and his sidekick Lacacy, which I now saying it out loud kind of sounds like lackey.
Yeah.
Rashi says that they need to keep Kavaro C alive because he's the only one who can work the divine hand. So they quickly capture the 2 remaining zealots, and they try to explain that the war is over, that the gods don't exist, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And they come to a detente for the moment, and then Keely opens the door because nobody could get in to the room because Keely had closed the door behind her. And there's no handle on the outside. It's only on the inside. So Keely opens the door, and she's like, is everybody cool with each other now? Because we have a problem.
Yeah. I hope we've all made friends again.
We have a problem. She lets everyone in and shows that the fleets are under attack by drone ships. Lacacy begins teaching Vadam how to use the controls by removing his helmet and arm bracers. And like the dust to the nano machines start like covering his arms and his head and stuff like that. And basically you control the divine hand by believing.
It's Orc 40K style.
Yeah, it's red, so it goes faster.
Yeah. If I believe in it hard enough, it will work. Still one of the greatest canon designs of all time, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I love it. Vadam uses it to take down the drone ships and the banished ships that have appeared. And when Keely points out the Forerunner ship, he attacks that too. And then Lacacy loses it because the Forerunners are still gods to him. So he then jumps into the thing and he uses the divine hand to destroy the UNSC ship and the Sangheili fleet. Because he was like, yes, I believe you that the war is over and there are no gods. And then he's like, blasphemer! It's true. Chapter 21, Olympia sees the damage that Lacacy has wrought, but then notices that there are some condors that had been on her ship, the Hidden Point, that are still available, and the condors are slip space capable and would be able to carry everyone currently left on the planet back home if she can get in touch with them. Mm-hmm. She also realizes that they only destroyed one Harrier, which is the Forerunner ships, and they usually came in pairs. There's usually 2, which means that the other one left. Yeah. And then she does the mental math that we had seen a few chapters earlier from the banished point of view, that there's only 4 hours left, and she puts a countdown timer on her heads up display in her helmet.
I love that. She just sets it up for herself. She's like, and 4 hours. Yeah, there we go.
Meanwhile, Keely is collecting more samples of the micro machines from the room. The Oath Warden tries to get in her face, but Olympia cuts him off, and they all go outside. But then Keely hangs back in the room and steals the energy vacuum condenser thingy from the control room. And when she does this, the power goes out in the facility.
Yep. Of course it does.
All the mystical stuff that was happening, it's done.
Yeah, we're finished.
That's over now.
Yeah, you're 3 months late on your bill, and boom, we're done.
Yeah,
no more mystical shit for you.
They get into a debate as to what it would take to build the weapon that they saw used. And Keely points out that no one ever should use the weapon because it destroys the planet it's housed on. Vadam, Vale, and company decide that parts of it should be split. One party, the Sangheili, should take, and which is the power thing, the energy vacuum thing, and the humans should take the micro machine samples, and they work together on researching it. They get Lacacy and Kavaro to swear on their faith that they will let everyone else go. And Vadam ushers everyone out because the banished are coming. He's like, all right, let's just go. Yeah. Meanwhile, chapter 22, Elsewhere, Rosa and Legs are walking through the tunnels, and Legs is being pretty wary about Rosa, who seems to be opening the tunnels at will and is totally healed.
Yeah.
And Legs is like, I don't understand what is going on here. And Rosa's not giving her any answers because she's a UNSC dog or whatever.
I don't know when you got Wolverine healing powers.
You got Wolverine healing powers over here. Legs is like, I'm just going to point a fucking gun at you.
Yeah.
Like... It gets real weird.
I'm on Leg's side. I'd be like, no, man, you're moving fucking sand with your brain. I don't think so. This isn't happening.
This is too weird.
Yeah.
You got to stop being weird.
Yeah. I just want you to shut up and say something weird.
There's a lot of tension between them, and they eventually get to the surface and find Grim Bear and Second Squad. And she's like, all right, welcome back to the war. Dig the fuck in because the banished drop pods are coming. So yeah, before the banished ship was destroyed, they clearly launched all their drop pods to land on the surface of the planet. Chapter 23, we get a point of view chapter from an AI named Sloan. He has seen better days and joined up with Cortana because he thought that she could help him. But so far, she's only halted his deterioration, which causes him to have looping thoughts. Yeah. And I think it's a funny moment in the chapter where like the chapter begins again and you're like, wait a minute. And then like a sentence later, it's like, oh, I'm having
love that detail. And he does it several times where it's just he's looping and he's talked about it. He starts repeating himself, and then near the end of this, he starts talking to another AI, I think, and they say, "You're looping. You've told us this 3 times." It's such a great detail. It just showing you, because you think about it, AI characters, like how intriguing can a AI character really be? Like, how much can you really empathize with something that doesn't live the way we do? And this is how. This is because it has
how you do it.
Yeah, it has overtures of kind of dementia and just losing oneself. And it's this one little chapter, and I love this part.
Yeah, because like Sloan is like, I only joined up with Cortana because I thought she could prevent me from basically dying.
Right.
And like, you're like, okay, so the AIs aren't doing it just because Cortana is an AI. They're doing it because like there's like personal reasons for some of them doing this.
They've absolutely got it. Just because they are AI doesn't mean they don't have self-interest.
Right. Exactly.
And frankly, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, of course an AI would do it out of self-interest. It's all about logic. They're just robotic engineers, really.
Right. So yeah, he reaches out to this this basically dispatcher, and it's like the dispatcher's like, this is the 3rd time you've called me about this. Like, you keep saying you have a hunch something is going on at Netherop. We can't send a warship out to Netherop on a hunch. And he's like, okay. And then while he's talking to her, the other Harrier arrives and like gives him the report of what's going on in Netherop. And he's like, oh, this is more than a hunch now, right? And the dispatcher's like,
Is my hunch, does it still suck? Is that what you're saying? I don't know. It gets kind of shitty about it. It's fantastic.
The dispatcher's like, okay, fine. Yeah. The ship is it's on its way.
Yep, fair enough.
So chapter 24. I didn't write a ton of notes on this chapter because it was either write a lot of notes or write a little, just like a little bit. But so much happens in chapter 24. So just to like basically break it up like this, they get all to the surface and the banished have them surrounded on all sides. Every side is like, all right, what are we going to do about this? And they're debating, do we dig in? Do we go back into the tunnels to fight them? Do we just like glorious death or whatever? What are we doing here? And it they kind of stem back to the discussion that Keely had brought up, which was nobody should have this weapon.
Yeah.
It's too deadly to use. Because the planet that they're on, she's like, this planet used to be lush with forests, and now it's like literally hell.
Yeah. We could have this weapon, but at what cost? What's even the point of having it? We're just going to execute ourselves.
Right,
It's a
exactly.
really cool point.
So they come up with a plan because Atriox, the leader of the Banished, is coming out to parlay with them. And it gets real fucking Ocean's 11-y.
It really does. I've got a plan, and this guy's working for me, and there's going to be some underhanded shit that you're not going to know about until it happens. All right.
And
all right.
like, we're gonna need a face. We're gonna need
And a tiny Asian man we can fit in a box.
an Elliot Gould.
Yeah.
Somebody get me Elliot Gould.
Someone get me Elliot Gould. He's already here, sir. Good.
Atriox will kill you, and then he'll go to work on you.
That'll go to work on you.
Oh God. Elliot Gould, by the way, we just watched the second season of The Lincoln Lawyer.
Oh, okay.
And Elliot Gould plays a character in that who was like the associate of the main character's father, because his dad was a lawyer. And but it's just nice having Elliot Gould and things.
That guy he will always work. I think most people are kind of like comforted by an Elliot Gould filled world.
Yeah, when he appears, it's like, this is nice.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is good. Oh, hi, Elliot. No, it's nice. I get it.
So anyway, Atriox is coming to parlay because they realize that the Banished aren't going to fire on them until they know they aren't destroying the weapon or something like that by doing so.
They have they just know it's there. They're coming in otherwise completely blind.
They have no idea what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So they're coming to parlay, and they realize, all right, nobody should have the weapon, so let's let the Banished have it. Mm-hmm. And they're like, that's a terrible idea. And then they're like, no, wait, it's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because they're never going to figure out how to build it. Even if with all the reverse engineering in the world, it's going to take them forever to even build the room and all that stuff to the exact specifications needed in order to fire the weapon.
Yeah.
So, like, what do we lose by just making? And then Vadam's like, but wait a minute, we got to make it seem like Atriox got one over on us. We can't just give it to him. We have to make it seem like he won through some sort of like trick or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they accomplish this by they don't even let Troy didn't even let the audience totally in on what was going to happen as part of the plan until it unfolds. So that's why I say it's very Ocean's 11, because you don't know all the parts of the plan as it's going.
Right.
Like Danny Ocean, you didn't realize that he was supposed to get arrested. You know? So what happens is they give the energy condenser to what's her name, the female Kaidan. Varodai. He's like, here's the energy condenser. Give this to your most trusted ranger, and you guys stay in the entrance to the tunnels and make it seem like we have a larger force ready to spill out, and keep an eye on the Oath Warden. And so they're going to parlay with Atriox, and they start this parlay scene. And it's Vadam and Olympia and Keely. And then that's when Keely recognizes on the other side Salju, the Sangheili study master, who was the one that hired her originally. So things are going and it's, tense or whatever. And then there's this moment where Rosa gets like, she's like, you can't just blah, blah, blah. And then she throws the bags of the nanomachines at Atriox, and it just like hits him in the chest, and he looks down, and they're like, oh, this is it, right? This is the weapon. And Vadam does his best job of trying to fake like he's disappointed.
Yeah. That he wasn't in on this whole thing. Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing? What did you do? And we're like, oh, well, you have it now, Atriox. And Atriox is like, ha 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 ha. And then to put the cherry on the top, the Oath Warden runs out, and they turn around and they see that Varodai and the Rangers are knocked out on the ground. And the Oath Warden runs out, and he gives them the sphere, the energy condenser. And they're like, you were trying to pull one over on me, Vadam, but I, Atriox, have pulled one over on you. Ha ha. And Vadam's like, darn.
Man. Well, boy, you. Yeah.
So the Banished are like, good luck getting off the planet, suckers. And like they have the weapon, and they like fucking leave. And and somehow they pulled it off. Like everybody wins. Like even the Oath Warden gets his contract fulfilled.
Right. It's so weird. It's like, we all got what we wanted. Everything's fine.
We all got what we wanted, except for everybody who died.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, and presumably some of them, that is what they wanted in the end. So, they're probably, a few of them probably.
A few of them.
They were thinking it over.
There's 400 ODSTs?
Yeah. So one or two of them was ready to snuff it. So... fucking awful.
Statistically speaking.
Yeah. Just I'm not supporting or poo-pooing it. I'm just saying math.
Just saying.
It's math.
Math is math and books are bread.
Never forget. Never
forget. Math is math and books are bread.
Books are bread.
So yeah, that's like the long and short of the chapter, and they're like, and Keely's like, well, who's gonna, has a confrontation with Vale about like the ONI and all that stuff, and then Olympia's like, Keely, what do you have in your bag there? And it's like 2 jars of the nano machines or whatever that she was trying to steal. And she's like,
it worked out. Everyone back off.
Everyone back off. Just let me have this. Have this.
God damn it. God, it's fine.
So yeah, did I miss anything? I think that's everything. That was
mostly
24.
it. Yeah. They literally, the chapter, it's
the longest chapter in
such a
the
long
last
chapter.
Part of this book.
Yeah.
And all I hear is like a little less conversation.
Yeah.
Looping in my head as it's happening.
They were literally counting the paces of how far Atriox and his retinue was from them. They're like, all right, he's 60 paces away. Now he's 50. Now he's 40. It was a countdown of how quickly he was walking towards them. It was truly surreal. I loved it.
So chapter 25 is short, but probably one of my favorite chapters in the book because of how dark and chilling it is. Mm-hmm. So they're in the Tell. Kavaracy and Lacacy are in the Tell. So Kavaracy hasn't been able to talk since he got part of his, like, just imagine he's like if a person got their jaw ripped off.
Yeah.
That's Kavaracy right now. He can't talk. And Lacacy is like they're just hiding down there in their citadel. Their little lamps that they got are starting to fail. There's no lights on. He's like, and Laxey's like, I'm going to go check the hydroponics farm. And when he gets there, all the food is already rotting.
Yeah.
And the water has turned sulfuric.
And he had been literally telling the other one, we haven't been abandoned. The gods haven't abandoned us. And he gets there and he goes, the gods have abandoned us.
The gods have abandoned it. Yeah. It's over.
Fucked.
But it's just like this really, really dark chapter. Like,
yeah.
Literally and metaphorically. And basically, Laxey, who has been serving this man, Kvarsi, for his entire life, he just like gets some water and brings it back to him and is like, the lamps go out and the chapter ends with it saying something like Laxey does his final duty.
Yeah.
And ignites his
energy sword.
His energy sword.
Yep.
And he's just like, I guess, putting Kvarsi out of his misery. Because he was just, bleeding a lot and all that stuff. But it was like, I was like, damn.
Yeah, it's some cold-blooded shit. It's really cool. Like, you're right. It was super cold-blooded. Yeah.
They really got the worst of it.
Oh yeah, they got fucked. And that's. I mean, you could argue that's what they deserve. Sure, fine, good, but man, that's brutal. Like they should have prayed to get taken out, like in a fight or something like that, because that's awful. That's just awful.
Yeah. It's basically like that is the end of the thing.
Yeah.
This chapter is like the end of the thing.
Yeah.
And, everything is destroyed. There's no hope left. They're just sitting there, and it's like, I guess we're just going to wait a little bit.
I guess we'll just wait and see. Just wait and see. Like, okay, great.
Yeah. And then the score comes in, a little bum bum.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's fucking crazy. It's so good. Yeah, I can see why that. Yeah, that absolutely sticks with you. That is a truly just kind of scene. It's fantastic.
Chapter 26. The main crux of this chapter is it's Petrov and Fuertes are the main characters in this chapter.
Yeah.
Basically, Petrov is sitting there and she's like, I want to kill this guy. Braashi, who is just like this fat, Sangheili dude who turned as soon as it seemed convenient, was like, yep, I'm on the UNSC side now. He's like man spreading across like 5 chairs and sleeping. And Petrov's like, I want to fucking kill him.
Yep. Which I think we've all been there. I think we all get that. Yeah.
Well, we all get it. And Fortis is like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And they finally close the circle on what happened between them all those years ago. And we find out that Petrov had told Master Chief, basically, we have this, and I don't know what the alien in the blue armor or whatever was supposed to be. That they're like, we got to transport this body back, and we're not going to have enough room for the body and my soldiers and Fuertes' family. And Fuertes basically sabotaged Petrov's Sand Runner so that they missed the rendezvous. Yeah. And her family was able to take the ship and leave.
She's responsible for her being marooned there for 30 plus years.
And yeah. So there's a lot of, but it's one of those, they have to forgive each other moments because Petrov was the one who was saying, leave Fuertes behind.
Right.
And Fuertes caught wind of it. She's like, so yeah. And then Petrov answers the question that we weren't. You're like, all the kids aren't mine, right?
Yeah. For the record.
For the record.
Those aren't all my kids.
Just like that's answered at the very end.
I love
after we were like,
I love it. I love this scene because at this point she tells it, she's like, hey, well, she says, well, they're more now they basically come to grips with the idea. It's like, well, now they are your family, and now you're going to have to get them acclimated to this world, and you really are they're not just soldiers anymore. You have to treat them like actual family and help them because you know this world and they don't. And she talks about, and there was it's just this kind of like implication of them living together and figuring it out. And my brain immediately went to this Full House style Halo show where it's like after everything went, it's like now we're trying to get along in a weird and wacky world, just it's.
Yeah. And then it's like too many Petrovs. And then it's like special guest on this Christmas episode, Horvath retells the story
of our Lord and Savior
Jesus Christ.
As days go by. Just
was that Full House or was that Family Matters?
Oh fuck! I don't know now. Now that you say that. It's the bigger love of the family. God damn it. Hold on. Now I have to find out. I had Full House in my head, but you said Family Matters.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news in the newspaper page.
No, it's Family Matters. Family Matters because
Family Matters.
Full House is whatever happened to predictability.
The Milkman, the Paperboy, evening TV.
That's it. Yeah, that's very similar songs. Wow, I never thought about that.
It's probably written by the same guy.
Probably, yeah. He's still doing Blow in a basement somewhere. Like that's how well he did. So.
And that man was Jim Steinman.
Probably. Probably. Are you listening, Tim?
Are you listening, Tim? That was just for you.
That's for you, buddy. Oh my God.
So yeah, and then like Fuertes is like, you got to love your family and you got to guide them through it. And she has this real grim, like, some of them aren't going to make it.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
Yeah, she straight up says like, look, a lot of them aren't going to make it. And like, well, what do I do? Well, you hang on to the ones who do.
You love them all and you hang on to the ones who do make it. And I was like, okay, one survivor lady to another.
Right. Just a reminder, this is a grim-ass future we're talking about here. Jesus.
And that's how the book ends.
Yeah, that's how it ends.
Is this conversation between these two hard-as-nails women who have survived on the most inhospitable planet.
It's crazy. I love it. It's absolutely insane. I love it.
Yeah. So, Phil, that's the end of the book.
Oh.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think it's easy for us to compare it to Kelly Gay's book that we most recently read. And I think it's fair because they have a lot in common in terms of that modern feel to them. And they're both standalone adventures within this universe. But I think the other thing they do is they show what modern genre adaptation like this does very, very well as it evolves. And I think I remember when we got contacted about doing Rubicon Protocol, and I thought it was very cool. And this to remind everyone, this was a complimentary advance copy of this book that we received. And that's awesome, and that's really cool. That validation is really cool. But I did have some misgivings in the sense of like, man, we're reading these Halo books chronologically. Is this going to throw off our rhythm and everything like that?
Right.
But I think it's actually very advantageous because in a span of 20 years, something like that they've been writing these books, the difference and the evolution is so obvious, and they both do something very well. But when you get into these later, more modern books, you have to increase the drama and it has to become more complex. And we talked about that before, where there was this kind of kind of feel to Rubicon Protocol, and with this, I'll never forget that opening chapter. The opening chapter of this book, I think it was worth the price of admission. It was so tense. It had that political thriller sense to it.
Like, he was stopped by the cops, basically.
Yes. Like it was a fucking barricade, and like it was like really, really cool, and not what I'd expect out of Halo, but it really, really works. So I think it's so cool, and what's funny about that is I'm now really looking forward to going back to the fourth book in the Halo series, which will be the next one we'll do sometime next year. And going back and forth like that kind of provides a real window into adaptation, which is what we talk about so much here.
Yeah, adaptation and how those adaptations have evolved.
Yes, absolutely.
Through the years.
But on a very basic level, I really liked this book. This is a great book. If you like Halo, go out and pick it up. And once again, so everyone knows, we may walk through these books, we summarize them and everything like that, but there is shit that we can't cover. There's all kinds of stuff that we can't get into.
There's nitty-gritty details that are worth absorbing on your own, I would say. Still,
and Troy Denning is a hell of a writer.
So good. So
absolutely worth picking up. I really enjoyed it. You, Kevin, any thoughts?
Oh no, I love the book. The only my criticisms from episode 2 basically remain for episode 3, because the banished point of view, we don't ever go back to the banished point of view in the last third of the book, and that's fine.
I was good with that too.
And I was thinking about, like, I didn't really want their point of view to begin with.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't necessary.
Especially when a lot of the other characters ended up communicating similar points, especially the stuff about the Harriers and things like that.
Yeah. We could have, everything we got from them, we could have,
we didn't need. They could have just showed up at the end. And it would. I don't feel like we would have been missing anything.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
That would be my only note for the book. Otherwise, really, really good. The only thing I would get lost in sometimes were the descriptions of just my mental image of where they were inside of the Tell and the Citadel.
Yeah. Like
sometimes the geography, it was tough to thoroughly explain what was going on. But otherwise, from beginning to end, in terms of tension, pacing, character dynamics, I liked all of it. It was a really strong book. Especially the character dynamics. I would have liked a little bit more, just like a touch more. I would have gotten rid of those banished chapters for a little bit more Rosa.
Oh yeah, I would have really enjoyed more Rosa. Absolutely.
Give Rosa a little bit more weight.
Yes.
And I would have liked a little bit more between Keeley and Olympia. Maybe just at the end, just kind of like a little wrap up of like who they are to each other. Yeah. Because, but other than that, I loved it. And chapter 25 is that short chapter about basically the ending of the Thing in chapter 25. It's gonna stick with me.
Leak. Yeah, it's good. And
so
thanks to Gallery Books and Simon & Schuster for sending us copies of this book to cover. It was a lot of fun. This is the second time they've sent us something, and they're just damn good books. So hell yeah, please.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming.
Phil, with all that being said, with Halo Outcasts done and in the marsh, I have one question to ask you.
Please ask.
What are you playing?
Oh, okay. Well, first and foremost, I beat Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay.
I went ahead and beat that. Really enjoyed that. A nice, satisfying game. Enjoyed the story, enjoyed the combat, enjoyed the Tomb Raider-esque-ness of it. I don't see myself going back and 100%ing any of these planets. I got what I wanted out of it. I got it dirt cheap on a sale. Like,
why not?
It was like $5 or something. Guys, put this on your wish list, and if it shows up for like even $10, buy it. It's worth it. It was a very enjoyable time. I did go through a couple of days there where I went back to Vampire Survivors, to their DLC, the newest DLC, and I unlocked some characters, evolved some weapons, and it was I kind of dunked my head back in that for a little while, and it was time well spent. It was really good.
It's still Vampire Survivors.
It's still Vampire Survivors, and I enjoyed it. So I still haven't gotten back up to 100%ing on the achievements.
I know that was a game where I was real bummed out about the when they kept adding more achievements, and
there was no way they weren't going to. But I was really proud of 100%ing that one for as long as I did.
Yeah.
But it was that was nice, and played a little game called Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, I've never heard of this game.
Neither have I. Let me.
Holy shit! They've added 50 achievements since I 100%ed it.
I mean, it's two pieces of DLC, so
it was 140 achievements when I 100%ed it, and now it's 190.
Yes, and I think I'm at 160 some odd. So
yeah. Anyway, Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate 3. 4 of my friends are playing it right now, and 9 of my friends have recently played it. So apparently you guys have all played this game. It's... All right, I want to explain something. Anytime Kevin has mentioned Baldur's Gate 3 to me on this show, y'all may have noticed that I reacted with sounds of despair. And not sounds of excitement that you would expect from an old school pen and paper D&D geek like myself. The reason I reacted that way is I played Baldur's Gate 1, Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale. I've played all of those games. I maxed them out. I just obliterated them and lost so much time of my life to those games, much in the same way that Civilization has stolen life from me, that Vanished has stolen life from me, XCOM, and now Aliens Dark Descent. These games wick away my God-given life-sustaining moisture, and it's my precious bodily fluids, and it's not, and it wasn't. I didn't despair because I thought this would not be good. I despaired for the exact opposite. I said they have been working on this. They took their time with this game, and it is going to obliterate my life. And I was right, Kevin. I was right. And I'm just all I do now is I work from home and play this game, and I'm so glad I don't have an office job right now. I told you this earlier. I'm so glad I don't have an office job, a 9 to 5, that I have to go into work and daydream about motherfucking Baldur's Gate 3 and my super hot girlfriend, the hellbound tiefling with an infernal engine for a heart, who is my metal girlfriend. And I just I love it. I love it so fucking much.
Has your wife signed off on Karlach yet? Have you?
Not yet, but she helped me pick a penis out.
Okay, that's good. That's a good wife right there.
I did. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, when you character creation, you can pick out your genitals, and she was out. She was watching something, and I interrupted her. And said, "You have to help me pick out my penis." I offered no context, and she went, "Okay," and she followed me into my office because she knows me, and we went with default. Sure. Because, as you pointed out, I'm a dwarf rogue, and a circumcised dwarf doesn't add up.
It doesn't work for you. Yeah.
No, No, it doesn't make sense. So default looked the best. Also fuzzy. He wouldn't shave. That's ridiculous. If they had braided pubic hair, I would have gone with that. Gonna have to wait for the DLC on that one.
I'm sure that'll be a DLC.
Yeah, that's got to be. But
Yeah.
Kevin, the thing I found in playing this game is that I am a terrible hero.
Sure.
I play rogues. I like doing the persuasion shit. I go for all of that, and I have had some success in that. But I pointed out to Kevin before we started, early on in the game, there's a goblin camp that you can kind of sneak around and you can be a part of, and there are all kinds of options. It's infinite options, and I ended up killing a few people in there, setting off a few alarms, and pro tip, when you're not in combat, when you're not in danger, you can pull up the map and click on one of the quick, what do you call them?
Yeah, the fast travel sigils.
The fast travels. You can just boop, get out of there. I killed my way out of that goblin camp. So much blood. So much blood was probably spilled. There is not a single living organism in there. I killed bacteria while I was in there. I murdered. This is the most murder hobo campaign I have ever played for myself, and it's
so there
ridiculous.
were goblins in that camp.
There were.
There were hobgoblins.
Yeah. Few drow,
bugbear. I think there was a troll. I think
there's like an ogre, an ogre.
Ogre, yeah. There's an ogre in there.
Ogre.
Yeah.
So a lot of wargs, handful of wargs. They're all dead.
Wargs, yeah, they're all dead.
They're all dead. They're all dead. And it's not even just my sloppiness sometimes and like inability to pay attention. Although I guess this kind of counts. There's this one I went up to. I found this windmill that had a gnome strapped to it. Yeah. And these goblins are torturing him. And I properly used my persuasion / intimidation skills as the character I rolled would. I'm playing a Draugr rogue, dark dwarf rogue, which is super fun. And but he's also he's a smooth talker, you see, and so he convinces them to leave.
Scatter, get out of here,
Scatter, get out of here. You don't, and I'm like, I'm gonna find out what that gnome has to say. And I went to the back of the windmill, and there were 2 levers. And if I had taken 5 extra seconds to hover over one lever or the other, I would have found out what they both did. And I just clicked on the first one I saw because I'm riddled with ADHD.
So Phil, there's 2 levers. There's 2 levers. One says break. The other says break release. So you clicked on the one that says what?
Break release.
And what happens to the windmill's blades when you hit break release?
It launched this into infinity. I thought maybe at some point, I've uncovered almost all of that section of the map. I walked all over it. I totally thought I was like, I'm going to find this corpse somewhere. He does not exist as far as I can tell. And the thing is, so many things I'll save scum and I'll be like, oh, I don't want to do that. And it's going to add a solid 20 hours to my game. But I do reach certain things like that where I'm just like, we're just going to keep going.
It's like, this is a real character moment for me.
Yeah, this is because and that's what's become headcanon for my character. I named him Torvald, and he's a Draugr rogue, and so he's like dark dwarf who escaped the Underdark, and so my headcanon is he's trying to be a hero.
Hard. He's trying so hard to be a hero,
but he's just terrible at it. Terrible at it.
Yeah, he got some like he was in the Underdark and he found like a book of the there was like adventures of the like the Harpers or something. He was like reading about the Harpers and he's like, I'm gonna be a hero.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's just there are a lot of training wheels. Let's put it that way. And so, Kevin, what games have you played, and why are they all Baldur's Gate 3?
It's Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. Tell me about your experience with it.
Oh, I am having so much fun with Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah. So it's funny is I actually did the same thing you did in early access.
Oh, with the with
that gnome launching that gnome across the map is probably the thing in video games that has made me laugh the hardest when I saw that cutscene play out, because you see the windmill blades go faster and faster and faster and faster, and then it's just boom.
Yeah. Just gone.
And I was just like, well, that happens.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the switches again and I was like, and that's the thing is I looked at the switches. I was like, brake release. Well, that means it releases the brake, so the brake can now stop it, right? Well, the other one just fucking
same thing.
The other one just says brake.
Yes.
The other one just says brake.
I did the exact same. I went, yeah, brake release, of course. Release the brake so it stops, right? Like,
because the brake is being held by something, and you wanted that to let, no, if you just read more.
Yeah. Watch him sail away, and I look at the other one and it just says brake, and I go, oh. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm playing a warlock, half-elf warlock who is, just eldritch blasting her way to fun and profit.
I think that's it's a proper way.
It's a lot. What I love is finding the little ways to game the systems, and it's not necessarily gaming the systems. It's just using all the darn systems that they put into this game.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll watch the computer do it and you're like, oh, I didn't even think of that. This, a stupid spell like grease. You're like, grease, what am I doing with that? And then it's like, oh, Gale can cast grease, and then Shadowheart can use, on the next turn, can use the flame, shoot a flame bolt at it and light the whole goddamn thing on fire.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole first section to me is like a primer on why you need to be throwing more grenades around. It's great. I've only everything I've accomplished so far is thanks to Alchemist's Fire.
I give my MVP to Cloud of Daggers.
Oh, Cloud of Daggers is nasty. Yep. There've been a lot of collateral damage for me with the Cloud of Daggers.
So I'm in this one area now, and I'm a bit farther ahead than Phil is, but it's basically an area where there's these harpers, and I'm they're being attacked by these monsters, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna save the harpers. Didn't save the harpers.
No.
So first time I did the battle, I saved one of them. And the one that survives is like, all right, hey, I know a safe spot nearby. Follow me. And then I wasn't paying attention. I didn't see where he went. And then I ran into a level 9 shambling mound, and it...
Jesus. Okay.
So I reloaded, and I was like, all right, well, it's right before the Harper battle. Maybe I'll save more of them. Saved none of them. And guess what? When you save none of them, you don't even have that little pro tip from the Harpers where it's like, I know somewhere safe nearby. It's like, I just got dead bodies everywhere. But it's something I've noticed is that they had to have recorded that line with every single character, Harper character in that scene, because there's any number of permutations. Mm-hmm. So you could save end up saving all of them or just one of them, and one of them has to say, oh yeah, I know where something's safe. So that's the amazing thing about Baldur's Gate 3 is the depth to which they thought about a lot of this stuff. Yeah. They went through they took these lines of these stories and the micro stories that you're going through. And that's all a good D&D campaign is just a lot of teeny stories like strung together in service of an overall story with a big bad evil guy at the end.
Yeah.
But like just like my little encounter with the Harpers, like you hit that point and there is like, all right, well, if you're playing like kind of a villainous character, you can just fucking fight them.
Yeah.
You just right then and there.
They don't do alignment. You can play however you want to play. It doesn't matter.
Play how you want.
Yeah.
Unless you're Dark Urge. And then you gotta... So the Dark Urge is something I'm going to play through on the next go around just because I want to
give that a look.
Which is basically like, say you want to play as a serial killer. Well, we've gamified that too.
Yep. Well, that's just it. All of the different, there's so many. It made me think of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, where you could play the game. It's famous for being, just a incredibly forward-thinking RPG in the sense that, like a lot of immersive sims, you can play any number of ways. But there are a couple of options, for example, the Malkavian clans and the Nosferatu clans, where they're basically completely new games. Everyone treats you differently that way, and this is like that. It's amazing how much time and thought they've put into the different options, and they're little things. Like, again, I play a Dwarger, which is a dark dwarf, which is not as sexy as like the Drow or anything like that. So I have to believe that I'm part of like a 0.01% of players playing him, and I keep running into things where people point out, "Oh, you're a Dwarger," or like I get dialogue options based on that, and that's really neat, and it gets you to thinking, like, what other little things are there for the different races and classes?
Exactly. There's a moment where someone tries to give you a potion that is going to knock you out.
Yeah.
And because my character is half elf, she's immune to it. And that just pisses the person off and they attack you.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because they're like, oh, well, now we got to do this the hard way.
Right. Because they didn't want to actually help.
They didn't actually want to help, it turns out. If anyone in the game is like, oh, I know exactly how to help you, they don't. If the person's like, I have no idea, but I'm gonna try, they're usually those people have the best interests at hand. The ones who are like straight up, I have no idea. There's an old lady named Auntie Ethel. Who is she's quite an interesting character. How far along through Auntie Ethel's story did you progress?
I got nowhere. I got like I found her the first time. I found her in her cottage, and then she fucking disappeared. Like, she just went away. I never found her again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She vanished.
Yeah.
Like in front of you?
Yeah. We were in combat for about a round, and she went invisible and...
No, I'll tell you. After the episode, I'll tell you how to find her.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But it's enough blathering about. We've talked about for Baldur's Gate 3 for nearly 20 minutes.
What a shock.
Just go and get it or wait a little bit for when it's on sale, because it's a lot of fun. Or give Larian's other games a shot, Divinity.
Yep.
And Divinity Original Sin 2, because to me, Larian has been doing pretty good work for a while now.
Oh, absolutely.
So
amazing.
That'll do it for tonight's episode. Phil, before we go, where should people look for us on the internet?
Oh, I'd highly recommend checking out patreon.com/pixellitpod. That's a place where you can find a community there. If you'd like to throw a few shekels our way, join one of the paying tiers, you're more than welcome to. And we have bonuses based on those different tiers, including a series of Legend of Zelda videos we've been doing is just for those Patreons. And by that time, actually, we'll have gotten into our Games of the Year 1997 list. which has been super fun setting up. So check that out. Or if you don't want to throw us any money, there is a free tier, and you can just join and be a part of the community. We love seeing you there. So just check it out, see if it's right for you. Patreon.com/pixelippod. Do it today.
Do it today. Meanwhile, find us on the internet at PixelitPod on Instagram. You can find us at pixelitpod.com, which is, might be confusing, but go to Blue Sky and search up at pixelitpod.com, and you'll find us there. You can also go to our website, regularpixelitpod.com. And you can, from our website, you can sign up for our mailing list, join our Discord, all that fun stuff. If you have a moment, go ahead, rate us 5 stars or give us a thumbs up on whatever platform you're listening to us on. It really helps us out when people are looking for us. And you know what? The best way to help is share. Share an episode with friends, with family. All that good stuff. Share it with your favorite druid who is wild shaped as a bear.
I think you know what we're talking about.
I think I know. Yeah. That'll do it for tonight's episode. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.